The Roots of Success podcast is for the landscape professional who's looking to up their game. We've got a brain trust of experts to help you nurture the roots of a successful business and grow to the next level. This is the Roots of Success.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Roots of Success, and I'm your host, Tommy Cole, and we have another awesome guest, my friend, never shy to anyone out there in the industry, let alone the party scene. He's my beach-loving friend, Adam Dukes with GrandScapes in Charleston, South Carolina. Woo! Adam, how are you?
Good, man. What's up, Tommy?
Not much, man. This is going to be great. You are a ball of energy, and I know your amazing wife is probably much more energy than both of us combined. So I've wanted to have you on for a long time, and now the time is right.
Awesome.
So this is great. Let's talk about Adam a little bit. He's got a nice sized business in Charleston, South Carolina, right on the beach, predominantly residential design build, installation and maintenance with a little bit of commercial maintenance. And you've been doing it for 16 years, if I remember, 16 something years. And you're a Georgia Bulldog, so go Dogs.
That's right, go Dogs.
There you go. And so welcome to the show. Adam, just give us some background, like 16 years, man. That's a long time. Was this right out of college or what?
Yeah, so I'd take it back even before that. But my mom would say, like, when I was 2, I got the little lawnmower. I was pushing around the house. I think I crawled out of the crib at night to get up and crank up this little battery lawnmower. And then, so just, I mean, I've literally loved landscaping, loved the outdoors all my life. And growing up, my brother and I grew up in Macon, Georgia, about an hour south of Atlanta. My brother and I had a little landscaping business growing up, and then learned about landscape architecture, decided to pursue that at University of Georgia. While I was at UGA, had a landscaping company as well there. And then moved back to Macon for about 2 years, worked under a landscape architect there, more on the design and planning side of things. And but before that, I did an internship over in Charleston and just loved Charleston. It's an awesome area. And I had a bunch of buddies that were over here, and they convinced me to move back. And so when I moved back, I started a landscaping company over here, and that was in 2009.
Wow.
And so kind of started that out with a friend that was doing a property management company. We did it for about a year together, and then just rock and rolled on my own from there.
Yeah, nice. So left Georgia, moved to the beautiful state of South Carolina. And would that be right after, sort of during the recession of 08?
Yep.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
exactly.
So tell me how that was.
Yeah, kind of wild times. And it was interesting, I mean, when I was starting it, we were so small, there was only maintenance work to be done. But we were starting it at that point. We had super low, cost in the business.
Yeah.
So we were able to be a little more competitive. So it gave us a little bit of an edge getting in and trying to gain some business, pick up in those early years. And we just hustled. I mean, I worked at a restaurant at night, did landscaping during the day, just, everything we could to get it rolling and try to pick it up to make it full time. But yeah, it was very slow and predominantly just maintenance work at that point. And, as we grew into more of the design build over the years.
Yeah. So getting started with a landscape company, did you always start in residential? I mean, that's sort of what you gravitated towards or what?
Yeah. It was kind of funny, man.
Why so?
We actually I had a buddy that worked with a development company. And so quite the opposite. We actually jumped into a series of commercial apartments.
Okay.
And so I just jumped right into the commercial end. And so we kind of did it almost the reverse way. And then as we grew on the commercial side with the maintenance, that led to, other opportunities of residential homes and things like that. And so we kind of started commercial and then moved our way more into residential maintenance from there.
Yeah. There is some beauty in that city. That is for sure. That's what you guys are known for. Front porches, the beach, the outdoor activities. I bet you're just like falling in love with doing so cool things outside, along with all the family and surrounding activities to deal with. I mean, you're like in a dream spot in the entire U.S.
It is, man. So Charleston's an awesome spot. And like, even when I was at school at UGA, we'd come to visit Charleston. It was a place you come to like look at for, kind of some dream landscape design. And it's wild, but even within the city of Charleston, I mean, you have downtown as kind of its own style of garden and landscaping, all the way out to the beaches where you're an entirely different environment and a coastal landscape with salt tolerant plants. So that's kind of wild. But then outside of just the landscaping side of it, yeah, it's been awesome for my family. We're about 4.5 hours from home, and you're at the beach, and just, an awesome place. We got 2 young girls, and super cool place. I don't think they realize how lucky they are to grow up here,
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
They won't realize until they leave at some point. Yeah.
Exactly.
I get it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, God, I don't know how long I've been in peer groups and all that, but I feel like we've been around for a long time. And honestly, Adam, it's been a ride. It's not all been like rainbows and unicorns and celebrations and things. And but I'll give you a ton of credit of working through things to make you better, right? And I want to really dive into a few key parts. And one of the ones I want to talk about is a leadership team. And you're at that size business, I would say so, that you need one. And you got to have some ownership within some of the divisions, right?
Right.
Talk us through that process. At some point, something registered about a leadership team, and you're probably having to develop. And I bet you use some of your peers, some of your friends, whether it be a coach or something or a conference, and you've been developing this over years. Take us back a little bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, just to roll all the way back. So it's wild to even think this, but, I just thought we were going to, start a landscaping company. I was going to do the work. People were going to pay. They were actually going to pay you on time. There'd never be a reason for somebody not to pay you.
Yeah. Typical landscape entry. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There'd never be cash flow things you had to figure out and all that fun stuff. And people would just be dying to come to work every day. And it was going to be a breeze, man, just getting to do what I love. And so I think from 2009 to what I call like 2017, that's when I joined up to a peer group.
Yeah.
But from that period of time, I mean, it was just so head down. You were just hitting all these bumps and trying to figure out really what was going on and what was going wrong. And then finally, I think as I transitioned into this peer group, you start talking to other people and you finally start figuring a lot of it out. And I wish I had that resource and been doing a lot earlier. Right. It would have put us like light years ahead. But you start figuring out like, oh, you guys had this issue. That's how you solved it. And, Jim and Jason were my peer group leaders. And they began talking to us about, you could begin to see a little bit of like the future. And we'd gone to see Marty Grunder's place. And you start to see like, wow, they've actually got a team in place, a management team. And, Jim and Jason are explaining the importance of this. And so you're still working every day in the business, but that's kind of the vision, right? And you're looking for these people to build. And it's just team. And even before you get to that level of like a management team, it's super important to have awesome managers and a great team to get you to that next level. And so really, a lot of credit to our management team and the people that jumped in and have helped, take us to where we're now building that management team.
What are some steps that you had to take or learn, maybe even the hard way? I don't feel like anyone in this landscape business all of a sudden just has dreams up with putting together a leadership team. It's almost putting a whole new basketball team, professional basketball team together. Like you got to have players and managers, and like it's not that easy. What were some necessary steps in order for you to get to where you are now, especially for a lot of companies that are, small to medium that are going, what is my step to do? What would you recommend?
Right. Yeah. And so there were some other buddies that had landscaping companies, and, you got to make up your mind. Hey, either I'm going to be a company that I want to run and be a part of everything every day, or, I want to build a team and work with a team on building it. And so, I chose to make that step towards the team. And honestly, I think there's a big investment. I mean, you've got to take, that initially that's money out of your pocket. You're bringing in people, and most times we were bringing in people, before we needed them, and we were growing into that. They were helping us grow. So I think there were a lot of investment years in there where you said, hey, this sounds like a great person. We need this person on our team. This will help us grow. Let's invest in this year. And that helps us grow and be able to expand, add on, to grow the team the next year.
Yeah.
So I think that was one of the biggest kind of those like stair steps of growth in there.
Well, you got to figure out a way to, when you're adding these people or promoting them, you still got to make money, right?
Right. Yeah.
I feel like that's the challenge of these new roles. You still have to produce the product. You still have to make money, yet promote. Were you able to promote within and or also grab outside leadership help at the same time, or was it one of the other?
Yeah, we did a little bit of both.
Okay.
So I always want us to, I mean, probably my biggest driving factor is being able to push and grow new opportunities for our team.
Yeah.
Right. I'm super happy with where we are, but I want to make sure our team is taken care of and has those opportunities for the next level. And so I think the coolest opportunity we had were, hey, there's somebody from within that, is showing promise. Let's give them a shot and develop and bring them up. And so that's been really cool. And so there's been a little bit of a mix of both.
Yeah.
And then there was just some people that we hired and brought in from outside that just turned out to be great people. And we've grown and developed with them. And, it's just kind of been fun all growing together in that.
Yeah. I always find, a little trick that I've kind of learned over the years was, in order to take someone at a level and to be promoted, is that person's got to be able to replace their old job, right? But before that, you have to master that job, that
right.
level. So let's say the guy's the person's a production manager of some sort. Now he's going to be an operations manager. Like you gotta like perfect that role.
Yep.
Kind of tee it up, train your replacement as you're moving forward with as a transition between the two, and then in order to fulfill the next role. And while by making money along the way and reporting to a guy named Adam Dukes, right? That's no pass, but you have to master your level then and be trained for the next level. So it's almost like you had to do the same, Adam. Like at one point, you're probably operations guy or sales guy.
A little bit of both.
And you had to like, all right, how do I get to like more, CEO level?
Right.
And that's not been an easy task either.
No, it hadn't. And I mean, I think to grow any business, you kind of got to do your day job and then you got to work on it more, and that's, that's a lot of where, when you're building that team, it's like, hey, putting in, the normal pieces you got to do during the day, making your clients happy, taking care of your team. And then what are you working on to grow the business for next year and the future, Yeah. And our team's done an awesome job of that too, putting in the time and building on, building upon kind of that snowball effect. So where we have something bigger to work off of next year. And, something I tell our guys, like lifting weights, what you're doing, what you're working on now, makes you stronger next month, next year. And that's how we always want to be working as a company. The hard work we're putting in today, boom, we're stronger and better off for next year.
What would you contribute now? You're running a good sized landscape business. What's your week look like as far as managing the team? Do you have, weekly meetings? Is it monthly leadership meet? Like, what are some things that you've had to build and adjust to now I can oversee the entire company?
Right. So as that happens, it's always kind of a moving target. You think like, all right, and it's wild, but when you're in those growth modes, the beginning of the year doesn't look like the end of the year.
Yeah.
And so, we set our plans, we set our structure, here's our org chart, and man, like we're 6 months into it and we're needing to rethink it. Right. So of course there's never any fires and you get to do exactly what you want on schedule. There's nothing. Now you constantly, it's funny, while you're doing that, you're still getting pulled away, right? There's still the immediate things and client issues and team issues and things that they still pull on a lot of your time, and those are in the urgent column, but all the while trying to build. And I think really the key part of that is, as an owner, and is your baby, you've done every little piece of it. It's hard to let some of those go.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a lot of trusting those people. And so as you work with somebody, I like to work closely with people. As you gain and grow in that trust, you can begin to hand those pieces off. And structurally, honestly, I think we're still figuring those pieces out, right? We've had a lot of growth in our management team over the last year here. And so we're still developing and seeing how all those pieces work best together.
Right.
And so it's a little bit of a transitional piece where, call it a year or two ago, I would be heavily involved in a department. And man, it's so awesome to see our guys say, "Hey man, I got it. We're good today. Everything's rolling as planned." And when they're taking off pieces and they've already taken care of it, and you didn't even know about it, it's incredible. And that's what team's all about. That allows us to do more.
Yeah, that's good. How hard is it to let go? That's been the term. And I know there's been challenges, and it's not just Adam, it's everyone, because we got into this business by pushing them over predominantly, right? And we've done a lot of the work, right or wrong way. But there's some scaredness to so it's almost like we've overseen over the last few years, just like, let it go, Adam. It's just let it, right? But you can't be riding a bike and just let it go, right? You can't let go. Can you ease off a little bit with a little bit of trust? Maybe there's some things that are some dials or a dashboard that you can observe, maybe be sales, right? Maybe you can just observe from a level of what's the pipeline, what's estimated versus what's sold, right? Those are some dials for sales, and a little bit of dials on operations, like, budgeted hours, the schedule, how the crews are doing, right? Do they have material? Right. Is that what you're looking at, is like not totally letting go, but like trying to figure out a way to have a balance between you and your direct reports?
Yep. Yeah, I think so. My granddad had a moving company growing up that was generational. And, he told me back when I was in like high school, and I would never want to like hire somebody and work. And he's like, you're never going to be able to grow unless you can trust and believe in other people.
Wow.
To be able to carry it out. And so I always try to remember that. But I think a big part of it is the trust part. But I mean, hey, I'm super thankful and grateful that we have, good clients and they want to work with us. And so that's your name and reputation on the line. And there's a lot of people, and you want them to be well taken care of. And so I think through working with people, that trust is gained. And once that trust is gained, they're given more, and hopefully that's a better opportunity for them, for your managers and team. But yeah, with that, I think a great way is just through your KPIs. And we're looking at that stuff weekly. That was something we learned through our ACE group. But before that, we were pretty sloppy at it, and just didn't know our numbers and where we were at. And I remember going to a couple of peer group meetings, and they'd ask about a metric, and I'd be like, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, but you're like, I'll just kind of keep my hand out here.
But and so then as you begin to learn those things, it's finding out what those important metrics are to look at, and how you stack up to other companies. But I think that's super important to watch, and and make sure you're not going off the rails on something. So watching those metrics and getting the important ones down, and then that way that kind of gives you an indicator of like, hey man, we really need to focus in on this area. Something's going on. And other than that, just walking around, checking on your people, asking what's going on. I mean, most people aren't scared to tell you where they need help and what's going on in that area. So I think just listening to your team and caring about them and what's going on in their areas, and helps what's going on in the temperature of your company in different spots.
Yeah, it's just asking questions, being a good the mentor coach along the way.
Right.
And almost putting yourself in their shoes or their chair or their seat of what they do day to day. Then you're there to observe and then help make some change and support them. Actually, at the end of the day, I'm with you. There's no magic book. I feel like there's no magic process. Yet, right? It's just being along with those people that are running the certain divisions along the way. And that's it. That's just spending time with them. I get it.
Yeah. One more thing on that, Tommy. So I try to tell our people, there's a lot of different types of companies out there, and there's a lot of companies that have gotten bought up and enrolled into larger companies and things. I feel like sometimes companies can lose that sense of like caring with their people. And so it's kind of a goal of mine, but I want our people, I want to care about our team more than anywhere else they've ever worked or ever going to work in their life. And I think through that, that helps kind of give my trust to them. I'm looking for their trust, but just through caring about your people, if they know you care about them and care about the business, they're probably gonna help you out on like, hey man, this is going on, and we're not going in the right direction in this. And I think you get a lot more honest feedback than, you never want to have transactional relationship with that. And so caring about your team, I think it just gives you a lot more honest feedback and a better temperature on what's really going on.
Yeah. People are our number one asset. It's not the machine, it's not the facility, it's everything that drives it. And when when people feel like they've got a place there, they can win, a place where they can share their values and trust Adam Dukes as the leader. What more could you want? I mean, that's and then everything else just kind of falls in line. They'll take care of your clients.
Yeah.
They can produce a profit. They can have a good career and a good personal life at the same time. It all makes sense at the end of the day. I mean, no one knew this is what we were going to sign up for, where you get the mower, when you out of the crib, right?
Yeah, not at all. Not at all.
No one signed up for this, but it's been a good learning experience. I want to dive down on a couple of key points here.
Mm-hmm.
Residential design build. That ain't easy, my friend. That is a tricky little deal. It's one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah.
Is walk into a blank space or a complete mess, and there's this huge vision, whether it be on a plan or whatever, and just make that come to life. That's a huge an instant gratification for clients to see. Talk about some of your experiences and why GrandScapes is doing what they do now.
Yeah. And again, that's kind of another building block piece, but it's kind of cool and wild to look back on. But we were doing these, like I was saying, we started out primarily all maintenance. And I remember the first couple of things you were getting asked to do by these clients. You're like, oh my gosh, and we're trying to figure it all out, and there were some more complicated, but we were going through from putting gravel on the back of a building. That's what we used to do for install. And then the next year you do something a little more challenging. And finally, over the course of our growth there, and it's funny, it kind of snuck up on us a little bit, but we would dream of getting these projects. And there were some, Charleston, there's some awesome projects and some dream homes going on. And so we're looking at these projects and we're like, man, like, wouldn't that be cool to work on that? And we bid on it. We wouldn't get it. And nobody really tells you aren't qualified. So that's why you didn't get it. And so then we try again. And finally, it's like you just work and work and work. And so that's what I tell our team. We talk about it a good bit, but it's like, this year, I want us to be able to get selected for a project that we were not able to do last year. And so, as we're kind of pushing the limits on, and that takes, having like a skilled team, and especially in the management level, we got some awesome managers just with incredible knowledge. And every year we're building upon like, hey, this is what didn't work. This is what went wrong in those projects over the last 5 years, these little pieces, and we learn how to build it smarter and better.
Yeah.
And that ties back into the beach is beautiful. And these clients get up here and it's beautiful. And they're the beach house. There's a lot that goes into that. There's a lot of plants that are dying. You're on different soils. And so there's a lot of complicated pieces that nobody can just move in and do. It takes years of having minor mistakes to learn how to do it better.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
What's one thing that you guys have done successful in doing your installations? Is it the quality? Is it the project management? Is it the communication with clients? Like what can you set yourselves apart? I'll go first.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a really good one for our audiences. Back when I was a project manager and in running the division in Dallas, one of the successes that we had was we did a weekly recap email for all of our installation clients. And it was just at the end of the week. It was every Friday. It had to be done before 5 o'clock on Friday. And it was a recap of what's been going on the job. And we would always copy the salesperson and the superintendent that was involved. But it was always like, this is what happened last week. We did this, and this. We're getting ready for this. We're ordering materials. They should be here, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Next week, we're going to do all this stuff. And then the third thing was, here's some outstanding things that we still need from you or whatever. And it was just, it kind of a short, sweet. And we felt like, yes, we know Miss Smith is looking out her back porch going, well, yeah, I can see it. Or maybe not. Maybe Miss Smith is traveling for 3 weeks. Don't know. But still, there was a paper trail. There was a consistency along the way. That's what sort of really pushed us along the way for years, because then it just was embedded in us. Highly recommend the weekly recap email. Anything that you have, Adam, that you and your team do?
Yeah. To add to that, I think one time in our group, a time we were talking about, people getting hit with these zinger emails at night and weekends and all this stuff. And you kind of fired back at us. And we're like, the reason they're sending you those is because you didn't give them any communication during the week, or during the day. And And honestly, that's an area that I feel like we're always trying to do better at communication. And I mean, I think, do we do better this year than last year? Yeah. But we still can up our level in the game of communication. And that's something, really important. Another area that, again, this was, something we learned through our peer groups, but going to check out and see other companies. We weren't doing any training. And we had this job. We were working out on the islands here. It's a really nice house. And I'm riding by one day and I see like 5 dead azaleas on the side of the road. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we just put these in. What's going on? And we put them in like a week ago. And we get out and look at it, and they didn't have any drip emitters on the azaleas. Oh. And we're like, well, of course they're going to die. Well, we got back, we were talking about it, and we were like, have we ever trained on putting a drip emitter in? No, and so we weren't training on any of this stuff or teaching our people. And, I mean, yeah, they should know what to do and putting them, but we weren't teaching them those things. We were just hoping they learned it at a company before. And so around like 2018 or somewhere in there, we started doing morning huddles and a lot of just basic training. And that's been a huge part of just one guy that learned this 5 years ago is now teaching the team below him.
Right.
And not only that teaching part, but I think it just shows your team that you care about those things. You care about them by teaching and investing in them. And it also shows like, hey, we're about high quality and doing it right. Because if not, we're not training and caring about it, but we care enough to teach you. And it just becomes a little bit of a culture of, hey, we're going to do this the best of anybody know. And it teaches the right way to do things. So that's been cool just to see, how that's kind of up the game on training. Something we kind of built upon.
Total sense. Never assume that everyone just knows what to do.
Yeah.
Right? I think we figured that over, right? I feel like that's in our heads as an owner, as a leader, like, well, what the hell are you thinking? Not to put drip on a plant, their emitter on a plant. Like, it's just assumed. But, at the end of the day, they probably kind of know how to do it, but do they know how to do it? And does everyone on the crew know how to do it? And does the manager know to inspect for something like that? Or is there a checklist?
Exactly.
That's perfect example, Adam, is anytime, you know how it is when Adam or Tommy or any leader shows up on a job site, right? Or a finished product. The first thing we look at is what's wrong.
Right. Yeah. Right. You're trying to find something that wasn't wrong.
Like,
ooh, what about that?
Plants, right? So then Adam probably realizes like, crap, we have got to have a process. There's a broken process in our organization that doesn't define what we need to do right here with no emitters. So then in turn, we need to train on it. And because if one person or one crew didn't do it, then hindsight probably shows that there's more than just one that don't understand that, right?
Exactly.
So my recommendation as a leader is that's really your job to go, that's something wrong. That's a broken process. We need to write the process and train over it multiple times so everyone understands.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's awesome to see. I was on a job last year and there was this new guy and he's putting together this awesome lighting connection. And I'm like, whoa, like we hadn't even trained on this. How do you learn how to do this?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, so-and-so on my job just taught me. And I'm like, that's incredible. But that's where it gets to kind of a next level is where the people that were taught year one teach more people year two. And then it just kind of becomes a culture of learning. And, I look at it as, I think there's some awesome companies in the Charleston market that over the years, you're like, oh man, you used to work there. Like, that's cool. You got to be an awesome landscaper and you got all this knowledge because you were good enough for it. And so we've tried to kind of strive for, I tell our people, hey, if you work with us 1 year, and unfortunately we want you to work with us forever, but if you had to move out of town, your wife gets transferred, I want you to walk into a landscaping company in another town. And I want them to be like, where'd you learn all that?
Totally.
And they're like, GrandScapes. GrandScapes taught me all that in a year. And so that's what we're trying to invest in them with knowledge and learning.
That's a good piece of advice. Train them and train them, and they're going to do whatever they can to make sure they do a really good job at GrandScapes. But if for some reason they do move on, you still want them to take all that knowledge. I mean, that's bettering the industry at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, and just raise the level for everyone.
Completely. That's how this industry gets so much better. Adam, maintenance. I feel like there is a buzz about you and your business wanting to grow maintenance. I mean, you're predominantly design build, which is great. It's the sexy installs. I mean, pre-recession of 08, 09, I'm like, maintenance is just boring. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I want to do the cool, sexy, big projects. And I was a big idiot because during that recession, maintenance is what saved our rear end, like times 10.
Yeah.
You could not keep going without maintenance. Over the last, years, I feel like you're starting to see that more. Like, I think there's an excitement with the design build, but now you're starting to figure out maintenance side, and I think you want one of the year, I read some notes, one of the, this year's the year where we're raising the bar and going after it. So what are some things that you've learned about maintenance that made the light bulb sort of go off? Like, we got to work on our maintenance side of and grow that side of the business.
Yeah. So it's funny. I grew up doing maintenance. I went to school for, landscape architecture, which is more the design build.
Yeah.
But I've always loved the maintenance side. And I get it. I love the value of it and what it brings to the company. And it also keeps good clients around, and there's more work to do for clients, and it helps build the install side. And for us, installing our markets, then there's a lot going on with it. And there's kind of been a natural growth. On the maintenance side, I think we hit coming out of COVID, and there was just so much going on. It was so hard and difficult to find good field staff that our resources were kind of limited in that period. Yeah. And so I think that slowed some of what we were able to take on from a maintenance standpoint. And so that was kind of a limiting growth factor for us. And so we're just trying to build that team as much as possible. But we want to have a business that's healthy and growing on the maintenance side. And it's really important for us too. I mean, we're installing awesome landscapes, and hey, those clients are wanting to trust us to grow and maintain the intent of that design for years to come.
Yeah.
And we want to work with them. And so that's been a big push of ours. I was loving on the Big Gene's podcast with you, where you said that, ask anybody in the company, what's the number one thing? Grow maintenance. Yeah. And I love that. And that's what we're trying to do is luckily the design build has grown and it's kind of taken off. And we want to make sure our maintenance department, we're giving it all the resources needed to take off and grow with that.
Right. Yeah. It makes total sense. Have you guys thought about doing like the install and then converting into maintenance? Is that something you guys are starting to work on now?
Yeah. And we definitely do. I mean, we're installing and we're picking up from there. And for us, it's been a little bit of a team and staffing capacity. And we want to make sure too, it's a lot of them are higher end designs and installations. And so, we've got to be able to service the property at that level. And so we're trying to bring in new people as we're growing and also train them up and get it up to speed. Yeah. And you want to make sure you're delivering quality on that as well.
Yeah. That's, it's no easy task to take on maintenance. I mean, it's a forever climb. And so you're always having to produce at the end of the day, but there's so much benefit involved in the maintenance, and it's the weekly observation of your property and then diagnose problems. You've got someone in the industry that can oversee the beauty and take on all the challenges, on the property as well. And there's massive benefits to converting those. That's how we became successful, is to convert those into maintenance clients forever. Endless opportunities for enhancements and everything else.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's a book we had to read. I think it was Carl Sewell or something, Clients for Life.
Customers for Life.
Yeah, Customers for Life. Exactly. You're wanting to have these customers, and if we're doing a good job on maintenance, we're going through with people. We've had some customers that have done 3 installs on that cycle of, and so we got to provide great service to them, take care of them. And, it's helping build customers for life with them, with their family, with their friends. And it helps kind of build and grow our whole envelope.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Adam, what does the future hold with GrandScapes and your team? Like, besides taking your team to the moon and back, what are some other things that is in the future that you're working on?
Yeah. So, again, thank God we've had some great opportunities, and I'm kind of getting to live my dream and what we're doing. I love what I'm doing, love the people I work with. And I think where we're at and kind of where we're going, we got some really good opportunities ahead. and room for growth. And so I'm excited about that. But the part that excites me the most about that, like if our team, we had a guy on our team that's awesome. He's worked with us a long time. The guy bought a boat like 2 years ago. That's like my dream. Like, but I don't want the boat. I want him to get the boat. You know what I mean? And
you hit it.
And that's the part I love is like seeing our team, seeing somebody buy a house, seeing somebody get a car, those things, being able to take care of their family and grow. And I think that's just the opportunity we have, right? We get to take care of our people on our team.
Yeah.
And I'm just excited. And, and I want them to be excited about the opportunities we're growing together.
Yeah.
So I think we have some great growth opportunities ahead for us as a company, but that's what lights me on fire is seeing our team grow and kind of have a better life. And that's kind of the next, chapter ahead for us, I think.
That is the most perfect answer I probably think I've heard in a very long time, Adam. It's not about Adam.
Yeah.
It's about growing teams and growing people, and then them raising their kids, and then their kid raising their kids. Cause that's the impact that you have as an owner. And when you have that, that's a life-changing opportunity for Adam and the team. It literally is. And if that's what you're working on, man, everything just kind of comes with it. That's an amazing.
Yeah, no, it's cool. We got a guy that's going through, buying his first house right now, and we've got to be a part of that and or helping him out with some stuff. And man, it's super cool. I mean, that's the rest of his week is buying this house. And I mean, what better things to say we've accomplished with the company than some of our field staff being able to buy a house. Like, that's awesome.
I love that. That's amazing. That's what we're here for. I mean, it's not about the company. It's about the people at the end of the day. Adam, one more thing. What is there a book? Is there a quote? Is there something that you live and die by that, man, Adam is that guy? Tell me about it. Would it be personal or career?
Yeah. There's not one, man. There's so many. And, that's the cool thing about like the peer groups and everything. You pick up on all these little pieces of, there's things you've taught me, Tommy. There's things Jim's taught me, Jason's taught me, Vince taught me, Marty's taught me. You learn from other companies and your peers. So I think a lot for us is just all these little pieces. But I mean, I think, you got to take care of your team, care about your team, love what you're doing, get up, work hard at it. And I mean, there's no way to screw it up. If you're working hard at it and you care about your team and your people, a lot of it's going to kind of take care of itself, So there's not one like catchphrase that I have or anything, but it's just, man, get up, work hard, look at the future with it, grow, build your team.
Yeah, totally agree with you. You hit it early on. It's all about the team at the end of the day. And I can't say it enough for anyone that out there is it literally, if you put your undivided attention to growing your team and giving them a roadmap of what their future holds within the organization. So as an owner, you got to be 2 steps ahead of that. And if they're wanting to go extra and beyond, you need to be aware of that and put plans together. Not everyone's like that. There's some people that just say, listen, I just want to go in and do my job and go home. I don't want to advance any. You got to know that as an owner, right? And the only way to do that is to spend time with your team on a one-on-ones, whether it be weekly or whatever, but that is how you build it. It's not like I'm going to drive a pickup truck and take material from job to job and I'm going to just mow it myself at the end of the day. It's not. And so I think we've been put in this role for this specific reason. So that's great. Adam, it has been an absolute pleasure. My good friend, we did some fun a few weeks ago at Mardi Gras. It was an absolute blast. We had a great time. But my good friend Adam Dukes, Charleston, South Carolina, GrandScapes.com. Go give him some love and check out some of his work. But it's always a pleasure, my friend, and I'm super proud of you and your team and the way you were able to grow over the years.
Ready to take the next step? Download our free profitability scorecard to quickly create your own baseline financial assessment and uncover the fastest ways to improve your business. Just go to mcfarlandstanford.com/scorecard to get yours today. To learn more about McFarland Stanford, our best-in-class peer groups, and other services, go to our website at mcfarlandstanford.com, and don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. See you next time on The Roots of Success.